She had been mistaken for many things before: a nurse, a civilian contractor, even a lost tourist. But never in her life had anyone looked her in the eye and told her to go clean up the mess on table 7. Asterisk, asterisk, what city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about extraordinary people. Asterisk it was supposed to be a quiet morning at the Naval Base cafeteria in Coronado. The Pacific wind was sharp with salt, and the air smelled faintly of coffee and steel. Inside, recruits laughed loudly over breakfast trays, uniforms slightly unbuttoned, boots dusted with sand from early drills. At one corner, near the coffee dispensers, sat a young woman in a plain white shirt, her sleeves rolled to the elbows. Her dark hair was tied neatly, eyes scanning the room without expression. To anyone glancing quickly, she looked like part of the kitchen staff, another waitress working the early shift. No one would have guessed she had once led teams through black water operations under moonless skies. When the group of Navy SEALs walked in, she didn't even lift her eyes. She recognized the gait instantly. Confident, heavy steps, the kind that carried pride and fatigue in equal measure. They were young, loud, and restless, tossing jokes like grenades. One of them, a tall man with a scar under his eye, nudged his friend and nodded toward her. "Didn't know we had new wait staff," he said with a grin. "Hey, miss, coffee refill?" A few chuckles followed. The woman didn't answer. She just watched the steam rising from her cup. Another voice, deeper, mocking. "Guess she's too high class to serve SEALs breakfast." Someone laughed. The sound echoed off the steel walls. Finally, she lifted her gaze, calm, controlled, but her eyes sharp. Unwavering, silenced the laughter for a heartbeat before it returned, louder than before. "Careful, boys," one of them said. "She might report us to the manager." The woman said nothing. She reached into her pocket and checked the time. Her demeanor was too calm, too sure, like someone who had seen men like them crumble before. A few tables away, an older man in uniform, a commander, walked in, talking briskly with a lieutenant. His eyes scanned the room, then froze mid-sentence. He stopped walking. His tone dropped. "What the hell are they doing?" The lieutenant followed his gaze, confused. "Just some boys joking around, sir." The commander's face turned pale. He took 2 steps forward, eyes fixed on the woman's hand as it rested on the table. There, catching the cafeteria light, was a gold ring etched with a tiny trident, the insignia only a handful of people in the world had earned. The Trident Ring, the symbol of the elite. The mark of a Navy SEAL, not the recruits who wore it as a dream, but those who had bled, nearly drowned, and clawed their way through hell to deserve it. The commander's voice dropped to a whisper. "That's no waitress." He strode across the cafeteria, every step heavy with recognition. The laughter around her began to fade as the air shifted. The woman finally looked up, eyes locking with his. "Commander," she said simply. The men who had mocked her froze. The scarred SEAL swallowed hard, realizing who she must be. No one wore that ring by accident. The commander straightened his cap. "Ma'am, it's been a long time." Her expression softened just slightly. 5 years, she said. Didn't expect a welcome party. The younger SEALs looked between them, completely lost. One stammered, "Sir, who is she?" The commander's tone hardened. "That, Lieutenant, is Lieutenant Commander Alina. Race, first female SEAL officer to lead Black Tide. Operations in the Gulf. You owe her more than your training manuals could ever teach." Silence thick enough to drown in fell over the room. The scarred SEAL's voice trembled. You're her?" Alina tilted her head. "Depends who you think I am. The waitress? Or the one who dragged your platoon leader out of the surf when the waves hit 15 feet? Color drained from his face. He remembered the story. Every SEAL had heard it. A mission gone wrong. A team trapped between tides. A ghost in black gear who had pulled 3 men from drowning. No one had ever seen her face. He had just insulted the ghost. Alina rose from her seat. She wasn't tall, but she carried herself with the kind of stillness that made others move first. Her ring caught the light again as she pushed the chair back. "You learn a lot about people," she said quietly, "when they think you're beneath them." No one spoke. Even the commander seemed unsure whether to salute or apologize. She stepped closer to the group, her tone steady, almost gentle. "You wear the uniform," she said, "but the uniform doesn't make the man. Respect does. Discipline does. And understanding who you're talking to, that keeps you alive." She walked past him toward the exit, but paused just as she reached the door. "I was here for coffee," she said, "but I suppose I got a reminder instead." As she left, the commander turned to his men. His voice was cold, clipped. "You'll remember this day, because someday someone smaller, quieter, maybe even wearing an apron, will be the one deciding whether you walk out of a firefight alive." Outside, the wind whipped through the flags. Alina stopped at the base steps, breathing in the ocean air. She looked out at the horizon, the place where it all began. She had joined the Navy at 21 after watching her father, a decorated Marine, buried with honors. He had told her once, respect isn't given to the loudest. It's earned by the quiet ones who show up when everyone else runs. That had guided her through every drop, every mission, every moment of fear in the black water. And yet, even after years of service, the world still saw a woman holding a tray before it saw a warrior holding a trident. She smiled faintly. It didn't anger her anymore. It reminded her how far she had come. That afternoon, word spread across the base like wildfire. Recruits whispered in the hallways, senior officers exchanged knowing looks. The story of the Waitress reached the training yard by sunset. By the next morning, the SEALs who had mocked her requested permission to apologize in person. When they found her in the gym, she was running laps, sweat glistening on her skin, steady as a metronome. She didn't stop when they approached. One of them, the scarred one, stepped forward. "Ma'am, we were out of line. We didn't know who you were." Alina slowed her pace, turned to him, and said, "You don't need to know who someone is to treat them right." He nodded, ashamed. "Yes, ma'am." She offered a small smile. "Just remember that next time you think someone's beneath you, the world has a strange way of teaching humility." She walked past him, her boots echoing against the floor. The commander watched from the doorway, pride and regret etched across his face. Later that week, a framed photo appeared on the cafeteria wall, a simple image of a gold trident ring, resting beside a coffee cup. Beneath it, a small plaque read, "Respect has no rank." Months passed. Alina continued her quiet work, mentoring new recruits, leading covert missions, always just out of the spotlight. She never sought recognition, only results. But every now and then, when she walked past the cafeteria and saw those same men standing at attention as she entered, she felt something she hadn't felt in years, peace. Not pride, not vengeance, just peace. Because she knew that day something deeper had changed. Not in her, but in them. And that was the victory that mattered most. What did this story make you feel? Where are you watching from? Subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more real stories that heal the heart.